So this is the third edition of the 5+8 show. There's been a bit of a hiatus, but it doesn't matter because time on the internet isn't linear and no one will know that, so it doesn't really matter.
And no one watches this anyway.
That's also true. And this episode is going to be about interviewing in the agency, in the creative space, obviously, just kind of what we've seen interviewing people, what our own experiences of being in interviews. I think it's something people don't talk enough about. I don't think they talk much about it at all. I mean, I think that's the awkward part is going in, going in.
Oh, you graduate school and don't really know how to do it. No one ever tells you how. They teach you all about the job, but they don't teach you how to get it.
They barely teach you about the job. They teach you about the craft of design or editing or whatever, but they don't teach you how to write an email.
No.
Never mind. Anyway, this isn't about that. Maybe that'll be a different one. But this is about interviewing and how, like you said, you go through 4 years of college, sometimes 6 years, whatever it is. You get out and then you're supposed to interview and you have no idea what to say, how to look, what to wear, how to sound. Yeah, you basically end up asking your dad, like, hey, so what the hell do I do? At least that's what I did, right? And so we just got done with a round of interviews not too long ago, and that's what made us think about this. And we had several applicants, all of them good, but I think the one big takeaway that we kind of joked about was what's that called? The
intersection?
Yeah, there's like a up-down word for it. No, it's like not oxymoron, the irony maybe. The irony, maybe it's the irony, I guess, of the better the interview, the worse maybe they turned out to be as a potential employee or intern or whatever it was. And then the worse the interview, not worse the interview. Sometimes people who maybe lacked the interview confidence ended up being great employees.
Basically, you can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. That's a good quote, Jeff.
Thank you.
I think that we just hired, and I like to say names because I think it's more fun. We just that was in November, so almost 5 months have gone by. Yeah, right. Because it was like a 60-day trial we did with Adrienne is our most recent hire, full-time hire, and she has been, since day one, a total badass. Works her butt off, proactive. Like you ask her to do A, and then she does A, B, and C, and says, "I did A, B, C. What about D?" Just a prize employee. Everyone's stoked about her cultural fit, total winner. And it's not to say, and I don't want to go back and say that I didn't want her, but she wasn't during the interview process. She wasn't my first choice. I didn't connect with her in any way. I'm a very emotional connection person. I want to connect with people emotionally. I emotionally connected with other people during that process more so. But Jeff and others were like, no, I think it's Adrienne. I think she's the best. I think she's going to be the best employee.
Yeah. That's what. Just something about her attitude and presence and during the interview kind of told me that she wasn't super polished and she had a definite level of, she seemed a little nervous. She didn't act like she knew everything.
But that's also good, right?
Right.
Because don't you want somebody who's a little nervous?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong if you're not nervous in an interview and you're acting more confident than the people interviewing you.
Unless you've been in the industry 20 years and you've interviewed 18
different.
times.
That's different. To be fair, I think it's good to frame this up is that we're talking more about entry level or second job kind of early in your career. Yeah, right. New hires probably in your 20s. Let's just say you're in your 20s. So that's who we're talking to here, and it's such a good point. Like they should be nervous. If they're not nervous, then they're either fronting, completely faking it, and acting like they're, and that's not a good. That's not a great sign because you don't want somebody who's fronting. And then two, they're so confident in themselves at such an early age that they really aren't nervous because they believe that. And that could be great. That could also be a fault. That could be a false.
It could also mean that person is uncoachable.
And that's it. David is off screen. Dave, come on, come up here.
We'd like to introduce David Malamud, brand director.
Yes, and newly knighted partner at 5+8.
Ooh,
And I think it's
I
not,
like that.
I don't think that's been documented enough. That David is now actually a partner at 5+8, something we've known a long time, and we're really excited about that.
Can I have partner / knight?
No,
No.
that's not gonna happen. But no, you were saying.
I think it comes down to almost like a lemon, right? It's beautiful. Like you go to a car lot, you buy
now I
a
get it.
car.
Okay.
It looks great, but you drive it off the lot and the wheels are falling apart.
Yeah.
That
Like my truck.
yes.
Yeah, but yeah. Your truck was
The trials and tribulations of Jeff's long.
Jeff's truck was. Oh man, it doesn't matter. It's such a
Yeah,
long
replace
story.
the engine. That's
Yeah,
how bad it
whenever
was.
you replace an engine of a truck, it's like getting a heart transplant. Like you don't know
Right.
how good that thing's gonna work long term. Did you? Oh, also speaking of that, how's that back window?
It's not good. It's not good.
That's the one thing he still hasn't fixed is a back window because it's some sort of electronic
Yeah.
mechanism. He's fine. He just parks under a roof. But yeah, I think that's the thing that was the most telling to me is, I mean, even with people, I thought, well, what about, references, and I've called references and gotten glowing responses, but obviously again, references are the people that they choose to put down there. So they're only going to put people they know are going to say great things about them. And it's not even that the person, I also want to back up that people that haven't worked out here, that doesn't have anything to do with them as people or even as workers. It's about fit.
At least for me, when we were interviewing Adrian, I think just her being nervous about it and just the gut reaction I got that I knew there was something else in there. Plus our interview process is like we're 5 people interviewing one person.
Yeah, for sure.
That can be a little intimidating.
Yeah. No, it was never that. I love that Adrian's going to see that I'm saying that she wasn't my first pick. That'll be great. Since, yeah, that'll be great. But whatever. I mean, it's fine. It's the truth. But now I'm the biggest Adrian champion there is. But the thing about Adrian, for example, or anybody who is nervous or isn't like the right connection at first, it wasn't that. I couldn't pull, like you guys said, you saw something in her and everything like that. I couldn't pull that out of her to where I was getting any confirmation of anything. But I don't know that you can get that in an interview anyway. And I think I've been looking for something that isn't there in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the presidential debates where they're trying to tell a story in 30 seconds, and that's it. It's kind of, I mean, it's the same thing with an interview, really. You're walking in there nervous. You're about to get hit with some questions. You've really probably only got 30 minutes total, and that's it.
And you plan out like what the typical questions, like what is your greatest strengths? What is your weaknesses? And it's all kind of almost
all kind of BS though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't necessarily think you get to know somebody on an interview process. You maybe get a little sliver of who they are.
Yeah.
But we had somebody that was like super confident that came and interviewed. First round, everybody kind of liked them. Second round.
Oh yeah. Second round. Yeah. And we do multiple rounds and we do phone interviews and I think that's the one thing you can do. The more you can make it a marathon and less of a sprint, the more the people will expose themselves. Not expose them, but be themselves. That's what all you're trying to do is get them to be as close to natural as you can. That's why we'll get out of the interview process. The senior guys will get out and we'll put them in with the people they actually work with and just let them talk and then just hang out and just talk and see what they can get. But it's really about trying to find the right fit for your spot.
I mean, I think maybe something that kind of maybe changed my mind on Adrian is just it seemed like she had a strong work ethic. Now,
I love that. But how'd you get that?
just based on like her experience and the amount of like little jobs she had coming up to it.
Oh, there
like,
you go.
Like working at, I think she worked at a PR agency
Uh-huh.
before, and then she had like some real experience that
Yeah.
kind of like said, okay, she can do it. She can do the grind of the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think the less you can get, the less you get out of the words, and the more you can get out of facts. Like if someone has been working, for example, if someone's been working since they were 15 years old, that's a good sign to me.
Yeah.
Like everyone at this table has been. We're all
Little restaurants or wherever.
yeah, because that's work ethic. Is that your parents instilled that at a young age. So, but if your first job ever, like if you didn't work through high school, you didn't work summers, you didn't work in college, and then at 23 you're like, I'm ready for my career. That to me would be a red flag.
You're in a rude awakening.
Yeah, because you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know what it's like to have to get up and to be on time and to stay late and works can suck.
I mean, I think everybody that works here has a very strong work ethic.
Yes.
And everybody kind of lifts each other and kind of helps out, even when somebody's struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had Sarah come to my office and say, hey, is there anything I can help?
Yeah.
So it's all about kind of lending a hand. And I think if you can show that in the interview process, that you're not just, that you're thinking outside of yourself and wanting to be part of a team, I think that helps. Or at least for me, that's something that kind of is a check.
That's a good one, yeah. And it's obviously again hard to know what's BS and what's the truth. But the more they're saying, I just want to be part of the team. I want to help. I want to contribute, and less about I have done this and I have done that and I am this and I am that.
Or I don't know how to do that, but I can.
I saying
can
I don't
find
know.
out.
Saying I don't know is awesome. That's
Yeah.
like the best to me.
Yeah.
Just coming with we've asked some of these people who are 22 years old a question that they really shouldn't have a good answer for, and then they start talking, and you're like, "What are you talking about? You don't know."
I've had like a 21-year-old talk about like building a brand strategy with like no experience, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great and ambitious, but you still have to learn.
That's not what you would ask them to do anyway.
No.
Right off the bat.
I mean, if I'm being honest, and I am being honest, I mean, I'm 39 now. I probably in the last couple of years have finally truly understood those bigger brand strategy concepts that I said I understood 15 years ago. I mean, it's one thing to say it, but you have to do it enough times and have it kind of
Understand the process.
to like really understand, like, is this valuable? Is this necessary for this client at this age in their, because people come to us that haven't even started a company yet. They're like starting a company. And they're like, we need a brand strategy. We need this and this. I'm like, dude, you need a company first. Like, you don't
need a
even
logo.
Yeah, you don't even
Yeah.
you don't even know if this is a viable business. So I don't even take your money and build out this whole thing for you that you don't have any employees. It's just you and like
It's a pipe dream at this
yeah.
point.
Once you make $100 first, and then let's see if you need a brand strategy. So I say all that to say I think that the interview process is flawed completely because you're trying to marry somebody that you've only just met. And so that's another thing that we do that's been hugely beneficial is trial periods. Once someone's hired, that's the other thing. Once we pick the candidate we like, it's still going to be a 60, 90-day process before we're going to hire them, which is really hard. You can really only do it with people that are entry level or don't have a position, because people who are thinking about leaving a position, that's a lot harder for them to take that kind of risk. We actually have pretty high expectations of people. I think we downplay how hard it is to work here because it's really fun and it's a great environment, but we assume a pretty intense work ethic. We assume a high level of talent, and we expect you to get all of it done at A to A+ level and have time for fun and chat and like podcasts and stuff like that. That's a lot to we do expect
It's not
a
a
lot.
trial by fire.
Oh, we don't. Yeah, there's zero training program.
No.
But I mean,
we had a client call in 30 minutes. I know it's only your second day, but you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, but that's because we like. I mean, that starts at the top. Like we like that. We prefer that. I can't. There's nothing I would be bored out of my mind if I was trained and brought along slowly. I mean, I think experience is the only thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've worked at several other agencies, and I've never gotten training.
Okay,
Like,
good. I
like,
don't feel so bad.
it's typical. Like, okay, here you go. We're having a client meeting.
Yeah,
Take notes. Make sure to recap it.
yeah,
I mean, starting like in the brand management, that's how you kind of start.
yeah. I think for anyone who's like listening or thinking about, what they're going to do in their interview process as they kind of come up in their career. I wish I would have done, if I can go back in time, I wish that I would have been more diligent in school of like doing an internship or doing anything like working. I don't think you should work for free, I guess. But at the same time, if you want, it's really hard to hire somebody that has no experience at all. And everybody needs interns. Everybody wants, that's one place where you actually can get your foot in the door. And maybe that doesn't lead to the job you want, but being able to put a name, even if it's just a small agency
In the industry, yeah.
yeah, just something in there, because then you've got the contacts. I mean, I just think internships. I'm surprised that we don't get, for all the emails we get about wanting jobs, we rarely get emails about wanting internships, or we get a lot less.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's probably because the difference between this is motivation. Like a 19-year-old, the last thing, they're not thinking about their career, but a 23-year-old is.
Right.
And it's almost like not too late, but like most 23-year-olds that are right out of college, they don't really have anything to offer us, right? Like, what are they going to offer us? They have if you have no experience and you're stressed out of school, so you haven't done any real work, that's not a great proposition for us.
No, I mean, the only thing I would say to those people that are interested in doing it is showing how passionate they are, that wanting to learn, like being engaging and like, how do you do this?
Yes.
I think there's value to that. And at least if somebody's applying for it, I mean, I would look for that.
Yeah, I think it's funny because the one kind of thing that happens in all interviews is a person who's somewhat smart, or at least somebody who at least has somewhat knows how interviews go, is going to say at the end of the interview, we're going to say to them, do you have any questions? If they say no, they basically fail, right? That's like the fail. And I've had that happen. And it's kind of a sad thing. Like, no, I don't have any questions. It's like, oh, okay, great. They're from the interviewee side, from the young person side, their whole interview should be questions. That shouldn't be the end of the interview. That should be the beginning, middle, and end. They should be coming in saying,
Because when you're young, you don't have much to sell.
no, your resume is like, Papacitos and
The Gap.
The Gap, right? And then you're talking about, I'm a customer service agent and da-da-da. It's like, dude, you worked at The Gap. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch, and I mean, it was a good job. It was my dream job. So, but so you don't have anything to say. So you should be just saying, I read everything on your website. I've read everything on social media. How did you guys do this? How did Katie, why'd you guys hire her? Where'd she come from? And why'd you hire, so who's your interns now? How many interns do you have now? How many entry-level people? Could I talk to them?
How do you get clients? Like,
Yeah.
How does that work?
How does that even work? I mean, that's what the whole interview should be. That would be an impressive interview. Somebody who was jacked up, excited, knowledgeable, and just
Had good questions.
and just had good questions and was like, man, I just want to like be a sponge and get in there and learn. Dude, I'd hire that. I mean, whoever we're making, this person I'm making up, I want to hire him right now.
It's just a nice cheat sheet.
Yeah, it is. Actually, ironically or fittingly, at 11:30, we have a girl coming in just as an informational interview. She is on our adult soccer team. Did you know, Ade, that Stephanie's coming in? Yeah. And we started talking one night after soccer, and she was like, so what do you guys do? And we told her and everything. She's like, oh my gosh, I would love to get into graphic design. But she's like, but I can't, and because school hasn't worked out, and now I have a kid, and da-da-da-da, and all these stories. It is anybody's story. And I was like, bull crap. You can do it. And Ade, who's behind the camera right now, is a great example of a dumbass who I love, who had the opportunity for 6 months, years and years and years, wanted to get in the industry, knew me from soccer for all these years, knew Gabe, who's also on our team, and just didn't do anything about it because he didn't want to bother me.
Ooh.
I mean, because he almost polited himself.
Oh, Ade's polite, man.
Yeah. So he almost polited his way out of a career.
He was his own worst enemy.
Yes. And then I'd be like, we'd have a couple of drinks after soccer, and I'd be like, dude, email me tomorrow. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then he wouldn't do it because he'd be like, man, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to bother anybody. What? And then he did. Well, I mean, he's here. So that's why it's funny. It wouldn't be funny if he wasn't here.
6 months later.
Yeah. Yes. But it wasn't because he didn't want it. He obviously wanted it. And now he's here, 3 days a week. He's editing videos. He's shooting videos. He's a badass. We love him. Same thing with this girl who's coming at 11:30. It's just they think that at a young age, they think that the time has passed them by.
It's lack of confidence. Like I'm already done.
I know. It's awful.
Yeah.
People that they're like life. It's like, this is your life. This is your life.
And it's what they want to do.
And it's what you want to do. And you're not going to do it because you think, oh, I'm 27.
Plus you have somebody you actually know.
Right. That's the only way to get it. Also, in the interview thing, the only way you're getting a job, people, is if you know somebody. Like, I mean, that's not totally true. Adrian actually,
She didn't know anybody.
She didn't know anybody. But I did get her resume from Love Advertising, who's a friend of ours. So
Definitely helps.
it helps a ton.
There's a difference between interviewing for account side and creative side too, because a creative with a really badass book can show up.
Yeah.
And you can look at that 2 or 3 days beforehand and go, oh, damn.
Yeah.
This guy's really good.
Yeah, if they're really good, and then you're just trying to make sure they're not like a dumbass or
psycho.
That you just enjoy them. The account management thing is harder. It's harder and easier in some ways, but the account management thing is really about gut and feel. And is this person going to be but clients there's a likability factor there that the designer side doesn't need quite as much. Like, are clients going to want to work with this person? Are they going to enjoy this person? Or is this person going to be annoying?
Yeah, I mean, for designers and art directors and people like that, there's some really genius designers out there that don't talk to clients that much.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And there's super talented creatives that are horrible to work with.
That's true. Well, you know that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's super talented creatives that we know of that we won't work with just because it's like not worth it.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah, they're difficult, or they can't make deadlines, or it's not dependable, or whatever. There's people out there that you're just like, man, I really would wish we could work with them, but we've tried 2-3 times, and they're just a pain in the. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's just not. It's too much stress. I'd rather have somebody with a little less talent, with a hard work ethic, and is able to.
100%.
There are some people out there though with books of work that are really, really good, and at that point, you're just make sure the person's not a psycho, and bring them in.
Yeah,
I think that's true.
Yeah, but you say that, but I don't know, dude. If we had somebody that was a badass designer and they didn't fit in with the team, and they were kind of a lone wolf, I don't think that would work here.
Yeah, maybe not here.
It could work at a bigger place.
I mean, because we're 10 people, we're not 110.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. Where are we on time, Holt? Nice, that's
right
pretty
there,
good.
yeah.
Man, that went fast. I mean, I'm good. Did that help? Anybody?
What I don't know. What are five takeaways or 5 things to tell a kid coming right out of school, going into an interview? 5 things that
5 takeaways.
5 pro tips.
So 5 pro tips is a white paper. You can download it. We need your email. We need there's no.
5 pro tips.
5 pro tips. Okay, you got one?
And donate $5 to a charity.
That's a pro tip for an interview?
No, to get the white paper.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, I got confused.
All right, so 5 tips right off the thing. I would say
Ask questions.
ask
Number
questions.
1, right?
Number 1. Ask questions before, during, and after. I mean, though my biggest concern was probably true actually, is that it was always what to wear. I was always so nervous that I was going to overdress or underdress. And that's when you show up with a suit on, and you look like a banker.
So
Yeah, but I mean, like that. Okay. I think Gabe showed up with a suit, right?
yeah, he did.
Yeah. I mean, it's better to overdress than underdress.
Yes.
In the creative industry, I think be like dressing. So number one would be ask questions. That's a great thing. Number two is be yourself. That plays into dressing.
Yeah.
So don't show up in a suit if you never wear suits.
Yeah, you're going to look
And,
like,
you know,
well.
and don't show up, looking like you just rolled out of bed either, because that's not how you're supposed to go to work.
Yes.
But dress how you would normally dress if you felt like you wanted to look nice that day.
I would say if you're dress how you would if you're doing something important.
Right.
Right? Like if you're doing something that's important to you and you want to look your best, dress like that.
Right.
Don't dress, but also don't wear a zoot suit.
Right.
All right. I like to talk about zoot suits. Okay. So dress like it's important.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of questions.
What's number 3?
I'd say don't be afraid to say you don't know.
Yeah.
don't know.
Your answers. Say what you know. Say what you don't know.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be honest.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah, because don't prop yourself up. Basically,
Right.
because
It always shows.
People get bad advice on that stuff. Like, oh no, say that famous Office episode where Daryl puts on his resume that he sold, that he transferred 1 billion units. And they said, transferred 1 billion units? What is that?
Of
And
what?
he delivered pieces of paper. So he was delivering reams and reams of paper. And he had figured out over the years that he had delivered over 1 billion
That's a lot of
units.
units.
It was a lot of units. So don't do that. That's dumb. What was another
What would
one?
number 4 be?
I had one just now. Is research the same as asking questions?
No.
I think research is pretty huge. That shows how much you care. Remember the last girl that we had in that just was an informational interview. She was really good. She had read this isn't a bad one. Don't be afraid to play to their. This is maybe the research question part, but don't be afraid to play to their ego, because
Yeah.
the last girl that we had in here that we really liked, she had read 5 blogs that I'd written and was rereading them back to me, or not reading them. She said, "Oh, I remember when you said that on your blog," and I was like, "You're hired."
Yeah, that's research.
Yeah, that's research. So doing that is huge because, hey, we're proud of what we do, and if you tell us, hey, I saw this and I thought it was cool, and of course it's gonna bring you, favor.
I'd say maybe we didn't cover this, but I would say don't expect us to kind of know your resume inside and out.
Yeah, like they'll say, "Did you get? Oh, you got my resume." I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I would say probably most of the times when we get the resume, we're probably glancing at it right before the interview.
Yeah,
At least I did.
yeah.
Here's a question that could be number 5.
Uh-huh.
What do you do when you get the offer and you feel like it's low? Do you take it?
Well,
Or do you want
that's
the,
a
or-
really.
or do you want the job bad enough to where you just take it? Or,
I like
or, or
that.
do you go back and try to counter offer?
I like that.
you don't have any power.
I like that for 5. I like that for 5 because that's a big one. Another one that people don't talk about is knowing your value, knowing your worth. And there's a lot of stuff out there right now, which is super quality. There's a lot of stuff out there in the creative community, like know your worth and charge what you're worth and this and that and this. And that's great advice. When you're worth something, but when you're 24, 25 and you have no power, you have no experience, your portfolio is meh, like, what are you going to do? Like you gotta, if you got 6 people offering you jobs, maybe you do have some leverage, but you probably don't. And they probably know that. And so when I do negotiations with people in that entry level position, I tell them, hey, this is what we're offering you. And I want to negotiate with you. And I want to be fair to you. And I want people to come into work every day feeling good about what they're making. So I don't want them to feel like, oh man, because if you go into every day of work and you feel like you're vastly underpaid, no matter how great a place is to work or how much you like the work, you're always going to be kind of have a chip on your shoulder. So I do tell them, I go, look, I need you to make something where you feel like feel good about it. However, just so you know, you have no power in this negotiation. You have very little power. That's just the reality. You can get mad about it. You can argue with me, but that's the reality. But let's do a negotiation. Let's talk this through, so we can get as close as we can. And then people kind of feel. I don't think most negotiations go like that for people in their first gig. But you don't have any.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is take a job and then you feel like, oh, it's so little money, and like it's irking me by, I don't know, $800, $1,000.
Right. Yeah. So that's when I'm saying that part of the negotiation, I'm talking about $1,000, $2,000. I don't want someone that could have made, that really, really, really needed to make 41, but they made 39, and now they're, because that really can be a mental block.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with meeting them halfway there and things like that. But be realistic and don't show up, and do not show up with your research on your competitive analysis that you
From
Googled,
salary.com.
that you Googled. Like, we don't care. We don't care, and we're not paying you that. And look, you guys saw project managers make $85,000. Cool, go get that job.
Yeah.
That might be it. That might be at like, Exxon too. So like they need to pay that. This is a tiny agency, and if you want to work at a cool creative shop, you got to make those sacrifices. And look, prove it, man. Like if you come in and you bust it, make us pay you more. But don't think that you're going to come in and like demand some salary, because it's not going to happen.
And I would say any research online that you're doing it that tells you like this is the salary for this position, it's never accurate.
No, that's just what people are putting in.
Yeah. It's all survey based.
And even if it is accurate, it doesn't matter, because the agency's probably going to pay you what they're going to pay you. And look, and there's extreme lowball offers. We've seen those too. That's different. I'm not talking about when people pay you like come on, man. Like, when it's. I'll close with this. My first just creative job, agency job out of college, out of whatever, it doesn't matter. But I got an offer. You know the story. I got an offer, and they literally wrote it on a piece of paper and slid it over to me. And I was a little bit older, and I did have some experience. So I did have a little bit of leverage, and not much. No one else was offering me a job, but I had a little bit of leverage. And I took the piece of paper and I looked at it, and I just go, oh no, and just pushed it back. It was and it wasn't like I was being a badass. I was like physically like, no, like get that tiny baby number away from me. And I didn't have any leverage on it. So there's numbers where you're like, stop it, like quit it.
Yeah.
Like,
So
you're being unreasonable. And I'm not talking about that.
So I guess like know your worth, but be reasonable also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting out. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be somewhat hungry.
Yeah.
And know that the place you're going to has potential for you to grow in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we offer.
100%.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. Should we should we bring Chew in?
Sharon, would
Sharon with Chew? Yeah, let's bring
Yeah.
Chew in. Okay, cool. But that's a wrap for this edition of the 5+8 show. Stick around for Sharon with Chew.
All right.
This is Sharon with Chew, with Sharon Chew. Sharon,
Hey.
hi. Welcome back. This is episode 3 and the third mini-sode, baby-sode,
Yeah.
A baby suit.
tiny-sode. Isn't there a word for that? Sodette? Tiny-sode?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that is cute.
Soda.
This is the third edition of Sharon with You. And do you have anything to share, Sharon?
Any factoids?
Any factoids?
Mm-hmm. If not, I can just pull them out of you. It's okay.
Well, you were just talking about the ocean.
Right.
I love the ocean. And there's like this post on Instagram that was talking about, I don't remember, but they were saying like one little sound from their little machine can cause like a sand avalanche on the bottom of the water. Okay, next topic.
Why are they doing? No.
That's a good
Why are
topic.
they doing that?
That's a good topic. I like it.
I don't know. I think it was like just really sensitive. It's like in the Bahamas. That's all I read.
So wait, what is it? What's up? You don't know what the point of it was?
Yeah.
Are they
But I just thought
trying
it
to
was
make
really
underwater
cool.
avalanches?
I think it was a random fact on their channel because they're like for the ocean, and so whenever they're like researching the ocean, you know, they have to be really quiet or else like all this like the calm sand will just like
Oh, nice.
So you're a Gulf child.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff is Jeff is a Gulf man himself. You're both Clear Lake and
Yeah,
Seabrook people.
See.
That's I want to know more about this underwater avalanche scenario.
Well, there's a new movie coming out called Underwater Dark Water, about like basically I think that there's like new technology now, so people can have been able to get further and deeper into the ocean than they ever were than they ever were before.
Right.
And so now they're discovering all these creatures like that angler fish. It's like insane. Basically, like it's like a whole new. It's just like finding another planet.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
our
I saw
planet.
a story a couple weeks ago where they discovered like a new shrimp, like this weird little red shrimp that had never been seen before.
That's so cool. Yet terrifying.
I'd like to point out that I do not care about the ocean or marine life. I don't not like it. I'm ambivalent. It's never meant anything to me. I never cared about Shark Week or
He's from Vermont.
He's from land.
yeah. It doesn't mean anything to me, and I feel somewhat guilty about it. I've never made that confession, but I want to make it now in front of my two saltwater friends that I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't have an emotional connection to the sea. That's all. I just want you guys to know.
Adam's more, concrete jungle.
Yeah. I'm more of a city boy. I'm more like Home Alone 2. Lost in New York.
FAO Schwartz.
Yeah. I'm more I'm more like a bratty little prince that's spent the
It has
night
like
in
a
FAO
piano,
Schwartz.
piano floor.
Yeah. Whereas you guys are, real salt of the earth, digging for cleaning off crabs shells.
shells.
Oh, this is a perfect, because this was the inspiration for sharing with you. We should go back to the OG reason, which is your Shamu, or your
My Shamu
killer
stories.
whale obsession, or what was it?
Yeah, my orca obsession.
Yeah, tell us about Chew circa 2005's
Yeah,
whatever it was.
I don't really remember all the facts about the orcas that I looked up, but when I was younger, I wanted to be a sea animal trainer at SeaWorld before the whole SeaWorld thing.
It's okay. I mean, it's
Really realized what was going on over there.
there's some gray area in there.
Yeah,
Some people's hearts in the right place. Okay, so tell us about your
my little obsession.
Yes.
I would look up all the orcas in San Antonio or Orlando, Florida, and what their personalities were, and like Tilikum was the largest whale. We might need to fact check that
Tilikum?
one. Tilikum. He's the one that with Dawn the trainer.
Oh, was he the one that killed Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you knew about Tilikum before?
I think that was before that happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would look at what was the smallest orca, like the baby one, or their personalities, and I would print them out.
There we go.
Print out their picture
Yeah, this is
on
what I
little
wanted.
cards and write down what their personalities were
Nice.
so I could remember them. Yeah.
So you made your own trading cards
Yeah. Except I didn't trade them with anybody.
because there was only one set.
That would be worth a lot now.
I wish I still had it.
Yeah, you should have made trading
You couldn't
cards.
trade them because you had all of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was-
Nice.
Thanks for
Those were
joining.
the days. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Anything else to share today? Sharon's also our new TikTok influencer.
Oh yeah, follow us at 5+8 5+8 on TikTok.
'Cause we're so young and hip.
Yeah. I'm just gonna promote sharing with you on there.
Yes.
That's fine.
Perfect.